All right, everybody, welcome back to SPCS Series 2. I am Toasty, joined here by Rain to bring you the Cafe game versus Paradise Lost game here in the Advanced Division. It's week 4 out here, and to be honest, it's been a weird run for both of these teams. They're kind of these mid-table teams.
Yeah, exactly. So the teams that we're facing up against here both have 2 wins and 1 loss. The only difference is in the order that those have happened. So the Cafe game starting out really strong in weeks 1 and 2 with 2 wins, and then taking their first loss in that 3rd week here. So you can see the most recent games are at the top of the list here. Paradise Lost, on the other hand, they started out with a loss, but then quickly turned it around with 2 3-0s in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of the reverse for both of these teams. The Cafe game, of course, recently losing to, I believe, Overclocked, that is, and then the opposite there for Paradise Lost, losing in that round 1, but coming back and winning twice 3-0, showing their dominance there. And to be honest, judging based off of this alone, Paradise Lost tearing their way through here, they've got some momentum behind them.
Yeah, it's really nice to have that momentum coming into week 4, right? We're getting close to the end of Swiss stage here, so you want to try and get as many wins as you can, and doing it in a 3-0 fashion is looking really good for Paradise Lost. But on the side of the Cafe game, I know that the last team that they faced off against, Overcharge, that was a really tough opponent, probably one of the front runners here, so at least they can say that they did take a map off of potentially one of the top teams in Advanced.
Yeah, absolutely. They're shaping up to be a very, very powerful team, and getting a win against them, getting a map win against them, you can't complain at all. It shows you can hold a candle to them top teams. And looking at these rosters, there's a lot of recognizable players on both squads here. I know for me personally, looking at the Cafe game, these are some players that have won tournaments together before. King, Shoreline Pie, Whispers, all playing in Saltwater Showdown previously, and coming here into SPCS and tearing it up. I mean, King is a very well-respected tank. Shoreline Pie, a very well-respected Sojourn player, as far as I'm aware. So, very, very, very powerful players we've got on the side of Cafe game here.
Yeah, on the other side, Paradise Lost, maybe not as familiar names, but this is a team that has those that momentum, those 2 wins, so they're definitely doing something right here. A little bit bigger of a roster as well, so you have some depth to it, a little bit of flexibility, so it'll be interesting to see what these teams end up, or what Paradise Lost ends up running as their starting roster here. I do suspect that we'll have Bartholomew on that tank, a recognizable name for me. So it'll be nice to see this team shape up and see what they can do to face off against this Cafe game that, like you said, Toasty, like, they have experience playing in another league already, so there's obviously a lot of synergy on that roster.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of starting rosters, for Cafe game here, they are actually going to have a tank ringer, which seems to have happened coincidentally twice when I'm casting, that a team has to have a tank ringer. King, unavailable to make it, but they will have Unfeatured as a tank ringer, who is a player that this core has still played with before. Unfeatured, very, very serviceable tank player, and has subbed in for King many a time on that Saltwater Showdown roster mentioned previously. So it wouldn't affect their synergy too much, I don't think, for Cafe game. As we look at the map pool here, it's week 4, I believe. So Antarctic Peninsula is going to be the starting map. With the meta right now, I don't really think it matters. You just play Mauga on pretty much every map.
Yeah, I suspect you're right. Antarctic Peninsula definitely going to be favored for the Brawl, I think. It'll be a little bit more interesting once we get into the different maps and modes to see what teams potentially look to force. Of course, when you're running like a hard meta like this, like sometimes you just need to pull out like the Watchpoint Gibraltar if you feel like you're not running or you're not winning like the Mauga composition. But like you said, Toasty, I'm anticipating some Mauga. I'm anticipating Brig Juno, and probably Echo Sojourn. But who knows? Anything goes, I guess. So we'll just have to wait and see what these teams are going to show us.
Yeah, the meta's very set in stone at the minute. I think perks have kind of shown us like that, there was a bit of a switch up in the meta, but now these are the most powerful heroes, right? The Sojourn, the Echo, or the Genji, whether you like to play more of an aggressive playstyle or more of that pokey playstyle. Of course, that Juno Brig, very sustainable. But I've also seen teams running Ana Juno, very, very possible to kind of wall out that Mauga if they try to engage quite aggressively. So there's options, but it all kind of revolves around this Mauga, around this aggressive playstyle.
Yeah, I like your point about like sometimes the teams are bringing out the Ana. It's a bit of a greedy play, but where Kiri just isn't quite in the meta anymore, if you can get one of those really big anti-nades or even just nade the Mauga himself, sometimes that's enough to just get a fight win. And if you can get a fight win off of just using one cooldown, you're setting yourself up for success.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very powerful to be able to win fights off of literally just pressing a button. It's a mark of a very powerful hero to be able to do that, like, you know, Ana, Kiriko, etc. Used to be Baptiste with the Mentality Field, now it's a bit of a weaker ability, so we've seen it in the past before, and it's no surprise to see it now in this meta. However, just while we're finding a quick ringer here for the Cafe game, we are going to be heading to a short break, but stay with us, we'll be back soon. I mean, I've been told we're going to a break.
Maybe not.
Pause, champ. Pause, champ.
For context, we're just waiting for the ringer to be in place for Cafe game before we can head into the lobby. We are also waiting on hero bans, which is exciting. Of course, gonna have some hero bans coming in. So I believe the way that this is set up is that Paradise Lost is the higher seed or a little bit higher in the bracket. So Paradise Lost is actually gonna get to pick the hero ban first.
Yeah, so the hero bans actually are gonna make this quite interesting because you could actually ban out that Mauga. Something we haven't dipped into yet is that, you know, it's Mauga meta, but you have the hero bans available. You have potentially the option to get rid of some of the styles of Mauga that I've just mentioned being played as well. It's very interesting here, because previously, in previous weeks before perks were out, we weren't seeing the Mauga so much. We were seeing a vast mix of kind of compositions, so it was more kind of counter picking with the bans. Now you can just ban meta.
Yeah, I think it'll be. See, I feel like even if you ban out the Mauga, we're still very much kind of in a brawl meta. So I suspect that you might see maybe the Ramantra come out there. I believe that we've seen a little bit of Orisa too. Orisa, of course, had some interesting perks where you can get her shield back, which is super fun. And you can also just get the reload perk where if you hit the critical shots, you can just shoot forever. So that's also a really fun, a little bit niche, but it's interesting to see some of like the old things from Overwatch 1 making a comeback in the form of perks.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like you say, Orisa there. There's also kind of the supports are kind of getting buffs to where they're getting to pre-Overwatch 2 levels of kind of team play of power. I mean, I know Lucio's aura was nerfed going into Overwatch 2. It was nerfed even before that, and now you've got that perk that can obviously expand that aura. You know, the GA range being increased on Mercy. Etc, etc. There's plenty of buffs to these support characters, as if they needed buffs. I mean, support's a very strong role at the minute, but I definitely think that these perks are bringing us back to an era of Overwatch, which a lot of us have missed for quite some time.
Yeah, it's nice. It's something that's just keeping everything fresh, so it's fun. Again, I think it's brought a lot of people back to Overwatch, maybe that might have wandered off to some other unnamed games. So it's something that I've personally really been enjoying. It's hard to memorize all of them. You know, there's like what 164, 168 new basically abilities that we all have to try and remember. But as we just go on, it'll feel more and more natural. And I think also similar to like a regular meta, there's like perk metas. Like some perks, you're just not going to see them get picked. So you don't really have to worry about them too much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone pick the Venture perk where it's like they can sense up to 35 meters while they're digging. Do you ever take that perk over one that literally gives you triple cooldown reduction in ult? Like, do you ever take that? And this is the thing, some of the perks are kind of weak, and we have seen in developer blogs and such and developer updates, they're planning on rotating some of these perks. They're planning on getting rid of the perks that aren't being played pretty much ever, because I guarantee you some of these perks will have like less than 1% pick rates. There's just so many better options. I know Genji's one where like the major perks are actually very, very weak. And it's kind of a toss-up about which weak perk that you pick out of the two. I know whenever I'm playing Genji, I don't know what to pick. So that's one of the ones that they might end up revamping potentially.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Exciting. We have a hero ban coming out. So Paradise have banned Mauga. So like you mentioned, Toasty, it could happen. So right here, right now on this first map, yeah, Mauga is out of the match. Very interesting. And then in response to that, Cafe have opted to ban the Mei.
Yeah, so a very interesting couple of bans here. The Mauga makes sense. You want to get rid of Mauga meta. Maybe Paradise really do not want to play in that rush kind of Mauga meta. But then you've got the Mei ban from Cafe in response to that. Maybe saying, okay, if you don't want to play any sort of rush, we'll just ban Mei out. So you can't play Ram, you can't play Rein. And we're going to take kind of a dive or poke approach, which means we're kind of locked into those two compositions now.
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah, for the map that we're gonna end up on. It's gonna be... I do think that we're probably gonna see the Ramantra come out. The Mei ban is interesting, definitely Antarctic. There's a couple of maps, I'm thinking like sub-level specifically, that Mei can be really good on. And sometimes you even see her on labs as well. But I think that to replace that, I still think we're probably gonna get a Sojourn. And maybe with that you pair like a Genji or a Tracer and kind of just go back to what was happening before Mauga really kind of took over the meta.
Yeah, look, Mauga is a hero. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't find Mauga mirrors fun. I don't find Mauga mirrors kind of any, you know, like it's not peak Overwatch, all right. In the way that perhaps Dive mirrors or Goats mirrors or anything like that are. Because Mauga mirrors is just like, okay, I cage, you cage. Then one of your Maugas gets nanoed. Oh, look, the other Mauga gets nanoed. And then it's just down to, oh, wait, which Juno can keep the support, like the Maugas alive more. Oh, wait, here comes a Ray. Here comes another Ray. And then it's like, it's just, like, the ult rotations are the same on both sides. Goats, there's at least some sort of, like, counterplay in terms of the ults. Dive, it's very mechanically dependent. Mauga mirror, it's who can click ults faster.
Yep, who can click ults faster and which support is M1 on their tank more. Don't you dare look away from that Mauga for a single second. They're gonna die. So
Mantra, though.
Yeah, this is great. So we're gonna be starting on Icebreaker, which is a pretty good map for really any brawl, and Cafe game gonna roll out on that Torbjorn. So Torb we've been seeing a little bit of, has really good survivability, especially with those perks now, and then the Torb turret is just always very frustrating for flankers. Paradise Lost though, running exactly what I expect. We have the Soj, we have the Genji.
Yeah, so Soj Genji against the cast Torb, it's a very anti-aggression composition here from Cafe Game, but even saying that, they're the ones going aggressive to start with, unfeatured, using that Nemesis form to get some tempo in there. Hawk goes down early. Paradise Lost, they realize they have lost, and they're just going to back out.
I like this from Cafe Game. You really don't want to give any time for Paradise Lost to get set up with that Genji, with that Sojourn, and we're actually going to see Hawk right away swap off of that Genji. Doesn't want to take a fight against the Cassidy and the Torbjorn, so we're going to have a Torb mirror happening right now. Point now captured for Cafe Game, and Didden is actually already up to about half of their ultimate here, so that's really good damage from the Torbjorn for Cafe.
Ooh, but again, Unfeatured goes aggressive to start the team fight off, using that Nemesis form very, very quickly. Paradise Lost can't respond in time, and so they're the ones that are going to get sent away back to that spawn room.
Yeah, it's this aggression. This is exactly it. You need to take control of the fights. You're already in control of the point. So as long as you can just make these fights go for a long time, find the first pick, you're going to be up in the fight and up in the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Here comes Unfeatured Nemesis form. Can't get it 3 times in a row, though. Fool me thrice and never. As Paradise Lost here, they're going to start to re-aggress. Cloven has that Annihilation coming up. If they want to use it soon, they're going to stay alive with that Nemesis for now and pop the Annihilation for some more tempo. Cafe Game, not even expecting that one, considering it was lapping Unfeatured in that ult charge.
Yeah, despite Unfeatured doing a great job of getting the fights out first, Cafe was actually just doing such a good job, Cafe was doing such a good job of just like finishing the fights out quickly that they weren't building up as much ult charge, but Cafe now going to be back on the attack. Paradise Lost, you still have both support ultimates here. That Ray from Juno, yeah, it's a fight winner, and they're gonna commit it right in the spawn.
I mean, that's a very, very aggressive play there, right? The ring into the Ray. And to be fair, 1-for-1 trade on both sides. You lose your Juno here for Paradise Lost. Now the beat comes in to try and sustain through Unfeatured's Annihilation as they go aggressive, try and catch out DQ Red, who is very, very low. Finally will be felled there by Shoreline Pie, who hits 2 clean shots to win that team fight out for their team.
Yeah, we will see the point flip go over to Paradise Lost. A couple members of Cafe still sticking around, though. Shoreline trying to find another kill here. DPS and Lucio speeding around the side. Actually, Cloven quite low here for Paradise Lost, but again, percentage is in the favor of Paradise here, so the longer this fight goes, the better it is for them.
Yeah, stalling that out was the best decision they could make. They're not investing ults to do it, right? They're just sitting there and kind of gaining ult charge while damaging the opposing team, letting that percentage tick up, and now they're in the lead.
Yeah, and you got the window out of Whispers there. Unfeatured's not going to have the Annihilation either, but Cafe does have the Torbjorn ultimate here in Didn't You See Me, and that can be really impactful for this point. If you can force Paradise Lost to take a fight on point and then put down that Molten Core, that's going to do so much damage. On the side of Paradise Lost, you're only working with that overclock from DQ Red, but it's going to open up the fight.
Alright, here we go with a Molten Core. Gonna deny some of that aggression for Paradise Lost here, especially off the back of that overclock. DQ Red booped into it by the looks of things there by Moon Bunny as they all fall. 10% remaining. Can they even touch?
It's gonna be tough. We can see that Hawk is probably the closest one here, but Cafe is pushed up quite far. They're not looking to let a touch happen at all, and yeah, with Speck of Dirt dying, that's gonna be it. First sub-map, gonna go the way of Cafe game.
Yeah, Cafe game, I feel like they knew their game plan from the start. It was going to be to try and destroy Paradise Lost with that aggression. Paradise Lost oftentimes were just having to react rather than be proactive with their cooldowns, with their ultimates. We had that one team fight where, of course, they Juno, Ring, and Ray, and Cafe didn't expect it, but other than that surprise attack, you didn't really have any clean team fights there. And even then, it was kind of just an up-in-the-air team fight. You had trades, right? Cafe game, playing a much better game in terms of the tempo and controlling the flow of play.
Yep, absolutely agree. We will see Cyclamos is going to swap over onto the Baptiste. So Paradise Lost going to be running the Juno Bap backline now, compared to Cafe Game with that Lucio Bap. So the difference here being that Lucio does have that AoE heals, but it's nice to have the Orbital Ray from the Juno, and then also the Speed Ring is just such a great engagement tool. It's going to allow Paradise Lost to hopefully put in a little bit more aggression here, because that's what they need.
Yeah, and Cloven here, coming through with 2 early picks. That's what you like to see for Paradise Lost. A neutral engage going their way. Cafe Game weren't even able to get close enough to go aggressive.
Yeah, excellent job from Paradise Lost getting themselves the first flip here on sub level. This will allow them to get set up nicely. You can see the DQ Red holding up on this high ground. Anticipating the Cafe Game, they have to push this high ground, right? You have to displace the Sojourn and you have to displace the Torbjorn. You don't want to just drop to point because you're pretty much just going to be a sitting duck there. So we'll see if they're able to break out of this little mega room. There's a lot of poke damage coming their way between the Sojourn and the Torb.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be tough to get through here. You'll probably have to use a speed boost engage from Moon Bunny or rotate around. It looks like they're just going to go full frontal if they see their opportunity. Unfeatured now going to pop that Nemesis very, very early as Shoreline Pie taken down on that rotation. Unfeatured has left the team behind, defending for their lives. The Cloven does the same. They end up falling for it. Didn't You See Me now coming around the side here with that Torb turret sticking to the ceiling, as now it's going to be that poke just cleaning up all of these squishies on Paradise Lost.
Yeah, good job from Cafe there. Unfortunately, the engagement Shoreline did get caught out on kind of on the side there, but it worked out in their favor. Now comfortably holding this high ground, and you have some ultimates here to work with. Unfeatured with that Annihilation, it's going to be really impactful, right? You don't have a defensive ultimate like you would with the beat from Moon Bunny, so you're gonna have to hope that Speck of Dirt can use the speed ring to engage out of this, or potentially the window to just burn them down. No, it's actually gonna be the window for engage.
Yeah, absolutely. Window comes through here, as well as that Speed ring, but still the Molten Core's there. It's gonna divide up the team a little bit. Cyclomost can't really access Cloven at the minute, as now the Annihilation comes through from Unfeatured, starting to punt in the hurt. Cyclomost goes down, and to be fair, the trades are going the way of Paradise Lost. Unfeatured, Shoreline both go down here because Cloven responded with the Annihilation of their own. All you need now is the flip.
Yep, pushing on to the point. Paradise Lost looking for that flip. Will get it. 50% on the board for Cafe Game. It was a nice engagement there from Paradise Lost to push onto that high ground. The window, a little bit tricky to kind of get the value from, but you do end up pushing everybody from Cafe Game back. It's basically using window to just create space, which worked out in their favor, and Paradise Lost did a good job of holding on to ultimates, but the window available for Whispers.
Yeah, the window there wins out the poke war. And you've got Cloven just sitting in the corner there, arms up, saying, hey, I didn't do anything, don't attack me. As now the Juno Ray comes through here from Speck of Dirt, looking to re-engage, but Shoreline Pie takes Cloven down in one fell swoop with the High Noon. 2 kills early on again to clutch up here for Cafe Game.
Yeah, beautiful beat from Moon Bunny, finds all 5 members of Cafe Game, keeps Shoreline Pie alive, so that they can push through and get a kill with that Deadeye. And like you said, Toasty, the Orbital Ray was committed there from Speck of Dirt, which is a little unfortunate because that is a great fight-winning ult. Now you're just looking to push back into this. You have the Molten Core from Hawk, but it's a little bit harder to get a kind of like an aggressive push with the Molten Core. You're definitely going to need to get some space created before you can get value from it.
Molten Core goes through here. It's going to divide up the tank from the rest of the team. Unfeatured under a lot of flak at the minute. We'll be able to disengage for the moment and stay safe. Paradise Lost, yep, that's the kill they needed. Shoreline Pie goes down. That's the go button as Cloven starts to go aggressive into the back here. A kill onto Whispers as well. It's exactly what you want. You remove that line of support to Unfeatured. Just going to disengage here and wait for another recontest.
95% for Paradise Lost. Cafe Game, they have the members to touch. It will be the touch coming in, and Unfeatured gonna have to stay on this point, try to keep it and flip it in their favor.
Alright, Cyclomost went very, very low there. Have to play carefully here if you are Paradise Lost. The early Annihilation from Cloven is going to be met with 1 in retaliation from Unfeatured. The Molten Core from Didn't You See Me as well is going to stop Paradise Lost from playing as freely as they would like, but still, Cloven's Annihilation got a lot of value there. Doesn't matter. Cyclomost and DQ Red go down the DPS line here. The Cafe Game are pulling it out of the bag once again. And now, with 7% to go, Paradise Lost are going to be scrambling.
Yeah, we'll have to see who's able to get the touch. We see a lot of swaps coming through. I'm not sure that anyone actually is going to be able to get the touch. And no, that is going to be a win for Cafe Game here on Antarctic. Really well played. Excellent aggression. I think the Paradise Lost were starting to find their footing there, but just like the tempo from this Cafe Game and the DPS, just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, Cafe Game as well, historically, a very, very strong team on these control maps. That's the one they won against Overclocked before, so no surprises here. It was very, very close, though. Paradise Lost almost winning 2 different maps there on Antarctic Peninsula, and to be honest, they were looking very, very good with this RAM composition. It wasn't a case of they were playing as aggressive as Cafe Game, which I think was their downfall in the end, but they were able to inhibit some of those aggressive engages that Cafe Game had. Because they were just playing more passively, they were waiting to bait out those cooldowns. Unfeatured would often go early with those Nemesis forms, and that's what you need to capitalize on going ahead in these maps.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. So this means that Paradise Lost will have the next map pick. And of course with SPCS, they get to pick the map and they get to pick the mode. So we could be going to pretty much anywhere. It'll be a little tricky to see what they're gonna pick. I don't think that you're really feeling like you need to swap to like a hard different comp like a Gibraltar Dive or anything, because those maps, despite being a 2-0, it was very, very close.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with how close it was, you don't mind playing a Rush Mirror against this team. I think going ahead here, you probably want to pick maybe a Flashpoint, maybe a push map where you can still play a Mauga composition, because now you can't ban Mauga. It's off the table completely. The pick actually here is New Junk City, so a Flashpoint map, probably the best one for Mauga as well, if you do want to play that, since that is unable to be banned now since it was in the previous map.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if we do get the Mauga compositions here. This will mean that Paradise Lost will get to choose if they ban first or if they ban second. So that is new within the last couple weeks here in SPCS. So they can either opt to, pick their ban or just try to counter whatever bans that Cafe go for. So we'll see. Looks like Paradise is going to choose to ban first. So we'll have to see what they're going to ban. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for one of the DPS players here, if you try to lock out one of the DPS players from Cafe Game, because they were doing a lot of work on Antarctic.
Well, it's probably a typical ban for Flashpoint here that we have from Paradise after choosing to ban first. It's going to be Junker Queen. So you're removing kind of one of the, I'm not going to say the counters to Mauga, but one of the alternatives to playing it. Junker Queen is very, very much... You're going to outmaneuver the Mauga, you're going to get into the backline, pull a support with the knife, get a Carnage kill, and then just completely steamroll your lifesteal from there. Mauga is very much, you're going to sit there, poke the enemy tank out, and hope that your DPS can get a kill outside of that. That's kind of how you're playing the Mauga compositions at the minute. So Junker Queen out. We'll see what is banned in retaliation to that. Because my response would be to ban one of the supports that maybe supports kind of Mauga compositions quite a lot. Actually, looking at it here, Cafe are going to ban Juno. So that signals to me you're probably going to see Kyria Lucio instead.
Yep, I'm thinking the exact same thing. Banning the Juno, Juno is of course very strong right now, especially with the Mauga composition. But you can still get the utility of the speed in the Lucio, and although the ultimate isn't going to work exactly in the same way, you can use the ultimate a little bit more defensively, and then you still would have that Kitsune Rush for kind of your engagement ultimate, similar to like you would have with the Orbital Ray.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Kitsune Rush obviously serves that purpose that the Orbital Ray does. The beat is more, instead of your rally, kind of keeping the fight going and keeping you sustained throughout, it's going to be more of like, okay, here's how I deny a blade, here's how I deny an overclock, here's how I deny potentially a duplicate if you manage to get an ultimate out of that dupe. So there's some options there for that sound barrier from the Lucio. And to be honest, I think the switch up in style is still going to be good for Paradise Lost. I think you're going to be playing Mauga, but with less of the Juno break, less sustained team fights. And as we know, Paradise Lost are very good at inhibiting these engages from Cafe Game.
Yeah. It's nice on a Flashpoint map as well, because they just warmed up on the control map. Flashpoint gonna play pretty similarly, and it is all about like taking these fights on the point. The percentage it builds so quickly, like you need to be contesting that point as soon as you can. So it's gonna come down to kind of like which team is gonna have that better sustain. And like you said, Paradise Lost was getting pretty good value of being able to like sustain the cooldowns that Cafe Game was throwing at them. So looking at the hero picks now, Cloven is on that Mauga, so that makes a lot of sense. Like you mentioned, Toasty, we see the Lucio Kiri for Paradise Lost as well. I would be surprised to see Hawk come out on the Junkrat, but I suppose it's not impossible.
It's not impossible, but it's not probable. I think is the thing here. Venture, more likely, yes. I love Venture gameplay. Okay, I'm gonna have my moment of fanboying here. Look, Venture is, I think, one of the most powerful, underrated heroes at the minute in this meta. The combinations with Mauga's Slam that you can have, the combinations with a potential rail, or speaking of a rail, DQ Red just hits a sick one onto Shoreline Pie. You don't even need the Venture for that engage here as a dig up comes through, segments off that Orisa from the rest of Cafe Game. You should be able to follow up on this if you're Paradise Lost, but they don't want to overstep themselves too much here. They know the squishies are in that side room, so they're going to go for this charge engage. Cloven into the backline there. Hawk, though, goes down on the engaged Shoreline Pie, managing to hit him with a couple of Hellfire shotgun shots. And Paradise Lost, unfortunately, playing too passive there, of all things. They're not able to follow up on their advantages.
Yeah, it's tough. We saw Cloven kind of charge into that small room, potentially trying to find another pick onto Cafe Game, but Shoreline Pie had actually already came back from spawn, so you just went into a tiny room with a Reaper, with the Torbjorn also, who can do quite a bit of damage to a tank. So point flip now over to Cafe Game, and King is almost built up to this Terror Surge. Whispers has the rush already too.
Yeah, Whisper's going to use that Kitsune Rush to go early here. Paradise Lost have to try and kite it, but they're just running away from so much poke. The Torb, the Kiri, the Orisa. It's so much to deal with. This Orisa is really doing a lot of work as well.
Yeah, I love the cooldown cycling from King. Pretty much every time, he's either got a spear, he's got the fortify, or he's got the javelin spin to just deny value from this Maga. So although Cloven is getting in and getting the stomps, Paradise Lost just isn't able to follow up with it. So we'll see them actually just swapping compositions here. So gonna swap to Zarya to try and counter this Orisa. We'll see DQ Red swap over onto the Reaper as well. So this is a nice Reaper Zarya composition where you get a lot of charge from bubbling your Reaper.
Yeah, you do, but also the Terror Surge into your backline is going to need to get bubbled. None online now for Cloven, as Didn't You See Me gets a cheeky little kill onto Cyclamos, and the Lucio diff comes through as well. Moon Bunny styling on Speck of Dirt there as Cafe Game take the first flashpoint.
Yeah, pretty decisively as well. They were in control of pretty much every fight that happened there. Moving on, we're going over to the second point. Cafe Game's going to have the opportunity to get set up on this point first. Which is great for them because you have the Torbjorn, you can get your turret set up, and then King on that Orisa. You're going to be able to do a lot of damage as Paradise Lost are funneling into this point.
Yeah, absolutely. The Zarya gonna need to get some sustained value across this team fight. Cafe Game want to go fast, but it's being kind of inhibited here. Cyclamos goes with the Kitsune Rush first. It stops Cafe Game from playing as aggressive as they would like. Hawk also has a Venture Ultimate if they want to use it. The Flashpoint is unlocked. Looks like Paradise Lost have control for the time being, but Cafe Game have ways to engage, and they could utilize them here. Whispers comes through with the Kitsune Rush. However, Shoreline Pie taken down by Hawk. Great elimination to start off the fight there, as well as the Venture Ultimate here, buffed up, of course, by that perk. The beat-in response from Moon Bunny, though, denies all the value it could have gotten, and now, no ultimates for Paradise Lost for the moment. Cafe Game still going to give up the point, wait for their respawner to come back. Shoreline Pie going to TP in now, and it's going to be a grab onto the Orisa, onto King, and that should be the end of that team fight.
Yeah, that's a really nice play from Paradise Lost. Cafe Game had the right idea, right? We saw Cyclamos commit that Kitsune Rush at the beginning of that fight, and Cafe just kind of backs out. But the unfortunate thing is the point flip. It goes over to Paradise Lost, and then the grab from Cloven just to finish things up. I will give credit. Cyclamos already up to 80% on that Kitsune Rush already. You have the Blossom from DQ Red, but it's going to be really hard to get value against this Reaper and Orisa.
Oh, speaking of value though, DQ Red into the backline finds Moon Bunny. That removes the tempo from Cafe Game as Whispers goes down as well. Hawk in and out like a hawk there as they get a kill. Cyclamos Cloven follow up just as they need, and Paradise Lost should be able to cap this flashpoint now. I don't even think there's going to be a touch.
Yeah, 80% plus. It looks like Cafe Game are just opting to give this up. They're not going to look for that fight, wait, and move over on to the next one. King over on to a Mauga of their own now. No other swaps coming through, but I like this. A lot of counter swapping coming in from the tanks here. You got to do what you got to do to try and get this win. We're all tied up 1-1 on Flashpoint. Going into the next point, looks like it's going to be Refinery, and Cafe Game, again, going to be able to get set up first here. That didn't work out the last time, so we'll see what they're able to do on Refinery here. You do have the Torbjorn ult, and it looks like they're in a pretty small room.
Ooh, yeah, that is a nasty Torbjorn ultimate if I've ever seen one. Deals a lot of damage. Paradise Lost decide to get out while they still can. Hawk will be caught on the disengage though, so I don't even think you fight this now for Paradise Lost, but you're still going to try, I guess. You know, stabilize yourself a little bit, wait for an engage opportunity. Speck of Dirt has the sound barrier and doesn't really need to use it for anything specific. You can just get a free beat in aggressively if you would like to. Paradise Lost, though, they're the ones that are going to get jumped on first. King goes in, beat in response. All the healing onto King, though, gets straight back up to full health. Whispers will be taken down by DQ Red there, and Hawk finds another. Again, the backline falls to this DPS duo.
Beautiful pinch from the DPS. We saw King go in aggressive and try to find Cloven on that tank. Meanwhile, though, the DPS, Hawk and DQ Red just come up from behind, find their picks, and that's going to be the point flip going over to Paradise Lost. 43% though for Cafe Game. Not too bad. They're going to be coming back into this with both support ultimates. King is almost up to that cage as well. But Paradise Lost, you have both of those DPS ultimates online, and like you said, Hawk has this perk. It buffs up the Venture ult. Cloven also going to have the grab coming online. It's the Blossom first from DQ Red though.
Yeah, DQ Red once again finding Moon Bunny first with that Blossom. I guess that's the kill you want out of that Blossom. Get rid of the sound barrier, prevent a longer team fight. And a bit of a chase onto the top here as well. Can Spectre win this?
Spectre wants it, but you gotta be careful that don't you see me on the Torbjorn can be quite dangerous. Paradise Lost though, gonna back up there, Lucio. Gonna be able to get out of that, and really nice job on the ult economy here. Paradise Lost still holding on to 3. You have the Kitsune Rush from Cyclos to start this off.
Yeah, Cyclamos and Whispers both trying to go as fast as they can with these Kitsune Rushes. Great cage comes through there, but a Reaper ult actually grabbed up Shoreline Pie. No value other than Hawk gained out of that. Paradise Lost gonna try and deal what damage they can with that fully charged Zarya, but Cloven will be chunked down at the end of the day. Cyclamos Speck of Dirt kept alive by that Suzu. And Paradise Lost could still be in this here. They use a sound barrier, they go aggressive. Moon Bunny almost goes down here, up in the air, somehow being kept alive by Whispers. It's going to be Hawk's ultimate to make the difference here, potentially, as they have it online. The flip comes through. Cafe Game are now in full control. Paradise Lost bide their time. They're going to wait for a re-engage.
Yeah, they only need to win one more fight. You have both DPS ultimates on the side of Paradise Lost. Cafe Game had to spend everything just to get this point back in their favor, so they're going to want to try and find an early pick here. You got to take down one of these DPS, but no, DQ finds Shoreline Pie.
Yeah, DQ Red once again finding consistent value with these Death Blossoms, and Cloven finding Didn't You See Me means that both DPS down for Cafe Game. The fight's over, and this will be another Flashpoint 1 for Paradise Lost. They are in the lead for the first time in this series, it looks like.
Yeah, it will be. All right, nice. So this is putting Paradise Lost at, but potentially map point as we head over to the ducts. Looks like Paradise Lost will have the opportunity to get set up. That's really nice on this point because you do have that high ground above the point, so it's important to get control of that as quickly as you can. Cafe Game, I will say, Didn't You See Me has swapped over onto that Venture, so no more Torbjorn on the field anymore. It's actually going to be the rush here from Cyclamos. Like, Paradise Lost want to hold this high ground.
Nice boop there onto the Kiriko, actually forcing the Swift Step. Now you try and get that kill onto Cyclamos, but unfortunately Cafe Game chunked completely down. The damage from the Reaper and the Zarya, too much to handle.
Too much to handle. That's exactly what we needed to see from Paradise Lost here. Using their aggression, going first in these fights and capping this Ducks point and gonna start the percentage building. Cafe Game, though, they're all grouped up here. You got both support ultimates online. Shoreline Pie's gonna have the Death Blossom as well. I do suspect a Kitsune Rush out of here just to get out of this choke point.
Yeah, absolutely. This Kitsune Rush should be able to allow them through as they finally make it onto this high ground. DQ Red goes down first. No chance to chunk anyone down in the back line with those shotguns. And it will be Paradise Lost sent back to the spawn room. Not too bad of an investment from Cafe Game either, but you have to use that sound barrier as well.
Yeah, that's true. Both support ultimates gone from Cafe Game, holding on to everything else, and we've seen a good amount of value, especially with this cage you can combine with the Blossom or even the Venture ult. Honestly, both would be excellent options. Paradise Lost, though, they have ultimates of their own. Spectator's gonna have that beat to hopefully sustain through either the combo or just maybe the Venture ult. And DQ Red gonna have that Blossom again, and we've seen value time and time again. You know the DQ good is gonna be good for one.
Alright, DQ Red finds Moon Bunny first yet again. That is the story of these Death Blossoms here, as is always Moon Bunny to go down first. King doesn't really get a lot of value out of that cage.
Yeah, it's tough because you pop the cage, but you've kind of just created your own blender because DQ Red pops that Death Blossom in response. They did commit their Death Blossom as well, so not going to have that. They're just working with the Venture ult here. They are pushing aggressively on this high ground again, which is going to work out, but Paradise must have a Venture ult of their own.
Yeah, Hawk into the backline with that Venture ultimate. The tectonic shock, shocking Cafe Game out of their senses, and with 90% on the board, Paradise Lost preventing the touch. There's no chance Cafe Game are even going to get close to it there. And wow, Paradise Lost coming back with a vengeance after that control map.
Yeah, they knew exactly what they were doing with this map pick. Really well played on this flashpoint map and showing good flexibility too, right? They started out on the Mauga, the counter swap onto the Orisa. Immediately Cloven goes over onto the Zarya. Excellent job from Hawk, finding so much value on this Venture, that perk, making the Venture ult just that much stronger. So you know that if you can hit your shots, you're gonna get so many kills.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Venture Ultimate, the Tectonic Shock, it's incredible. And I said at the start of that map, I love seeing the Venture in these Malga matchups.
Mhm.
And right there is exactly why. You get these massive digs into the core of 5 people. You're able to escape easily with that drill dash, or do vice versa, right? It's quite flexible in terms of that cooldown combo. And then you've got that Tectonic Shock. You're able to get in on these flanks. It's like a Genji Blade, but you can hit 5 people at once. It's crazy. And that is exactly why Paradise Lost were able to win that there, that incredible Venture play.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. So we are going to take a quick break now. Don't go anywhere though, because we're all tied up and we're gonna see what cafe game off to take us to on the third map just after this.
Alright, welcome back everybody to this series in SPCS Series 2. Sorry, started on my words there. It's the Advanced Division here where we have a 1-1 match between Cafe Game and Paradise Lost. It was looking dire there in the first map for Paradise Lost, but it was a close one, and then they came back and won that New Junk City quite convincingly with that Zarya composition.
Yeah, looking really strong on New Junk City, really pulled together as a team, finding their footing against Cafe Game, who did put up a little bit of a fight on New Junk City. They did get one point in that sub-map, and they will have the map pick now. So we just saw Paradise Lost win their map pick. So Cafe Game, they're going to be taking us to Esperanza to try and find their map win.
Yeah, Esperanza, it's gonna kind of lend itself to more of that Sojin play rather than like the tanks being in control of everything. I feel like your DPS can be very important here. Looking at the bans we've had from both of these teams, Cafe have decided to ban Zarya, and Paradise have decided to ban Lucio. So you're not going to be playing Kiri Lucio with the Mauga, you know that. And obviously, there's no Zarya, so there's no way of using that to counter out the Mauga. I reckon you're just going to see Juno Brig Mauga here. Like, that's all you're going to see.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. I've seen maybe a little bit of like Wrecking Ball compositions come out every now and then on Esperanza. It's a little bit wider of a map compared to some of the other push maps, so you have a little bit of an option to take some off angles. Tracer can do pretty good, but like you said, where we're pretty much expecting like a Juno Brig, it's really hard to sometimes get value on those off angles because Brig can really just shut down off anglers pretty quickly.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see a Tracer or a Genji get a lot of value into a Brig. I think you're more looking at kind of Echo, Sojin probably as your DPS line here. We'll see though, as we look at this boat with all of the flags on it. I probably couldn't name half of those.
It's Canada. I see a Canada flag.
I see USA. And one of our observers being sus in the match chat as well, apparently. Alright, Paradise Lost, Juno Brig, Cafe Game, on a Brig, Hazard.
Hazard, okay, haven't seen Hazard in a hot minute. I just want to point out that those lobsters are cooked and they're dead, so nobody should agree to whoever this observer is. You don't want to be those lobsters. They're about,
you would die, right?
That's not the look. Cafe Game is running out on this Hazard. With the Pharah as well, with the Brig on a backline is kind of interesting here. So this is a lot of poke damage from Cafe Game. Paradise Lost, of course, running that Mugga. They have Hawk on the Genji. So it's going to be on Cafe Game to just try and do all damage onto this Paradise Lost team before they're able to close the distance. But with the Juno and the Mugga, Paradise Lost can close distance pretty quickly.
Yeah, but same for Cafe Game, right? They've got this Pharah, the Sojin can take angles from afar, and so if King gets anyone low, if anyone gets anyone low, King can jump on them. And Paradise Lost have to be very, very careful of that fact. See, already DQ Red hounded down in the backline there just because of one Pharah shot. That's all you need. And now Paradise Lost are on the back foot. They don't have that poke to out-sustain this Hazard composition.
Yeah, that's beautiful from Cafe Game, and that's the thing that DQ Red's gonna nice a wall again from King, finding a wall that's gonna allow them to pick up that kill onto Cyclamos. But yeah, doing a really great job of just isolating targets from Paradise Lost. DQ Red's gonna have to play so careful on this Sojourn. Typically when you're playing Sojourn, you want to have a bit of an off angle, but it's gonna be really easy for Cafe Game to punish that off angle. So we'll see what Paradise Lost are gonna do to try and adjust to this. They're just getting a regroup in this mega room, but of course all the poke damage coming in from Didn't You See Me. It's gonna be the speed ring that's gonna have to get them out of this little choke point.
Yeah, the Brig trying to brawl in with the Mauga here. DQ Red does diff Shoreline Pie on that Sojin, but again, King, 2 kills here onto the DPS line to make this fight theirs. And this is the thing, the Hazard doesn't seem too powerful in the current meta, but when you're playing on a Brig as a backline, you're going to outpoke, you're going to out-sustain, and the Hazard can just find these crazy kills.
Yeah, and look at all of the damage that Cafe Game has done. King has their ultimate. Didn't You See Me has their ultimate. The Nano available as well from Whispers. And look at this Paradise Lost. Cloven swapping over. Gonna mirror this Hazard. Hawk is swapping over to the Tracer as well. So gonna be a little tricky because like we said earlier, Toasty, Moon Bunny is on that Brigitte. So gonna have to somehow navigate your way around that hero to be able to get some value. Looking potentially to put some pressure onto Shoreline Pie. But this still leaves Didn't You See Me with a lot of space to work on with this Pharah. It's really just DQ Red that's gonna have to try and keep them in check.
Alright, well, Downpour comes through from King, hits the Juno, exactly what you wanted to see. And it's an instant teamfight win there for Cafe Game again. It's just what the Hazard provides, it's that burst damage.
Burst damage, you used one ultimate, and you're still gonna keep this bot pushing forward. Everybody's still alive for Cafe Game. You can see that King pushing up quite aggressively here. Does have Shoreline Pie there to help out. Paradise Lost, they have to get a little bit of focus going here. You've got the Orbital Ray from Cyclamo, so that's really big. That could be your option to push in and try and get a fight win, but Whispers could hit it with a nade and basically cancel out the whole ultimate.
Alright, the flying barrage all over the place here from Didn't You See Me. Shoreline Pie assists with the overclock. 3 ultimates invested there from Cafe Game, but this far into the round, I don't think it matters.
I don't think they're too concerned. You still have the rally from Moon Bunny, going to be an excellent ultimate to at least try and sustain through this next fight. Speck of Dirt does have the rally in response. Cyclamos has swapped off of the Juno now, so going over onto that Ana, this is going to be able to keep Cloven a little bit more alive in these fights, allow Cloven to get a little bit more aggressive. DQ Red is also building up to that overclock, so this is a chance for Paradise Lost to come back into this fight. They're going to have the resources available, they just need the space.
Yeah, but they're trying to make that space here. With mirrored rallies on both sides, you got the overclock from DQ Red as well, putting in the hurt. Didn't You See Me first to fall here, and the Brig just goes for a complete and utter brawl. You're not playing a Malga comp here. You can't be getting away with that, but if you are Speck of Dirt, indeed you can, as Paradise Lost finally get a team fight on the board.
Yeah, here we go. It's a long push for Paradise Lost, but it all starts right here. Cloven's gonna have that downpour available. Hawk does have the pulse bomb as well. Gonna potentially be looking for one of those support players from Cafe Game, or potentially even Shoreline Pie. King going to be building up to that downpour as well, but I think if Paradise Lost can use these ultimates effectively, try to get a quick fight win in, at least get some more progress on this bot, but no, you're gonna lose your Ana.
Yeah, Cyclamos caught out first again here, as Whispers hits a sick nade onto Speck of Dirt as well. Paradise Lost already falling in that team fight. Cafe Game didn't even need to use anything.
No, they didn't really need to do anything because they just had a nice angle. We saw the wraparound coming from the Mega and just pinched right onto the backline of Paradise Lost. And although the break Ana has good sustain, it's just too hard to sustain through a Pharah. Plus the Hazard as well can pump out so much damage. Cafe Game now, King has the downpour available. Paradise Lost still have their downpour available, but ooh, gonna find King out first here, so you might not even have to use anything if you're Paradise Lost, because tank down could mean a fight win.
Yeah, 100% you want to conserve ultimates here. Nothing needs to be used. Paradise Lost. Gonna take some high ground control after this as well, so when they get the bot pushing on the other side of the map, they should be able to catch out a couple of players that way. Although, Cafe Game, kind of just playing in the middle of this map here, they don't really want to give up that space too easily.
Yeah, got set up on the high ground. Shoreline Pie gonna fall to that wall from Cloven. So that's again one down for Cafe Game, and it's the ultimate committed from Cloven. Oh, I don't think I find anything.
Yeah, the sleep comes through, so Cloven can't follow up on anything there. King just finds 2 already. DQ Red, Cyclamos go down first, and Paradise Lost's one team fight turns into a lost team fight. You know, name's accurate.
Yeah, it's rough. It feels like every time the Cafe Game get a regroup, they come back in, they win the fight. And really effective in the ult economy too. We just saw the downpour committed from King there. So you've got both DPS ultimates, you got the Nano, and unfortunately Cloven did commit the downpour of their own Hawk. Still holding on to this pulse bomb. You can see just how hard it is for Tracer to try and find a target against this composition that Cafe Game is running, because you're scared of the Brig. The Pharah is in the air, so you're probably not going to find the pulse bomb there. Ooh, nice. Little concussive, but pulls them in. Not going to find anything. But look at this. The Cafe Game's just set up on the high ground. they can take a fight wherever they want because they're in the lead here. So it's really on Paradise Lost to find some way to get an opening here. You've got the ultimates, it's just you're kind of stuffed out because the Sojourn set up so comfortably in the high ground.
Yeah, it literally doesn't matter where the spot goes, you're just going to sit on this high ground and poke out. Didn't you see me already finding Cyclamos, who just seems to be falling first in a lot of these team fights? I don't know whether it's their fault, or whether it's just the DPS being incredible here for Cafe Game, but Paradise Lost sent packing once again, and now it's going to be probably on for a full map completion here for Cafe Game.
Yeah, it's looking really good. 4 ultimates on the board. Paradise Lost, you're gonna have ultimates as well. You gotta get out of the spawn here, try and contest this bot. It's gonna be the Brigida to do it back first, but Cloven back in the fight now, so on the hazard to create a little bit of space. Nano going out onto Cloven.
Yeah, Cloven looks to get into the backline here, but King has the same. King has a nano boost. King helps to kill 2 here. And even though Cloven does find Shoreline Pie, at the end of the day, Cafe Game should be favored here. No support ults to speak of, though, as Paradise Lost. They're going to want to invest a rally out of spawn here, I would imagine. The touch comes through just barely from this Brigitte. The Sombra in as well. Hawk manages to shut down King potentially there, as now the overclock comes in from DQ Red to make good on that momentum brought in by the Sombra. And this should get him moving yet again, but a minute 45, you're going to need like a full push here on the map. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's tough also because Paradise Lost just haven't been able to win these fights once Cafe Game gets themselves regrouped and on their own high ground. So we'll see what Paradise Lost is able to do with this. I like the swap over onto the Sombra. You got to do something to try and shut down King. Cloven gonna commit the downpour. It does connect though.
It connects onto the Honor there as well, who didn't get seen, but didn't you see me manages to off themselves with the barrage? Oh, not the barrage, just the regular rocket. And Clove and DQ Red both go down in response here. The rally doesn't find a lot there for Paradise Lost, and again, it's what you said. A Cafe Game, they group up, they stabilize, and it's just theirs to win.
Yeah, despite losing, didn't you see me? Cafe Game still in control of this point. Shoreline Pie had a nice overclock there, taking out Speck of Dirt, who has now swapped over onto the Juno, so not on that Brigida anymore. And yeah, look at this Cafe Game. They've pushed the bot just far enough to get the forward spawns, and they're probably not going to push this bot any further. They're just going to look to win the fights right here, right now. And they have the positioning to do it. They have the ultimates to do it. Didn't you see me has the barrage? The Nano's going to be online as well. I suspect we see that go over onto King. Lovin's trying to put some pressure on this high ground, but there's just no follow-up from Paradise Lost.
Yeah, Nano comes through here onto Whispers and King. The barrage from Didn't You See Me finds Cyclamos in the backline. They can't use their nano boost. Paradise Lost. They lose the opportunity there to use that support ult. 10 seconds remaining here. Cafe Game shouldn't really be pushing this bot, if I'm honest, but they're going to do it anyway. They're going to go for a full map completion. The Juno is the only one to touch here. Can't stay alive for too long. The nano boost coming through here onto Sojourn. Can DQ Red do anything to clutch? That is the question. The hazard goes down very low. King on a sliver of HP will be felled. Moon Bunny looks to be conserving the rally, does not want to invest it here. Looking at the longevity of this potential overtime push that they have on their hands, the Wrecking Ball should be able to put a lot of pressure onto this backline, maybe chase up some of these stagger kills if possible.
Yeah, this is, you see Cafe Game just backing up, waiting again for 5 members because they know that they just need to win one fight here. Paradise Lost cannot afford to get off this point. We actually have Didn't You See Me swap over onto the Widowmaker.
C9!
Oh,
No!
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that is tragic. The Widowmaker, the sightlines denied there from Cafe Game. What a smart play. Get the bot, stop it there, and just force Paradise Lost off with the threat of that Widowmaker. Such smart play, such incredible play from Cafe Game throughout that whole map as well. I mean, you saw every player contributing in their own great way. And Paradise Lost now gonna have to come up with an answer.
Wow, we came into Esperanza thinking that we were gonna end up in this Mauga mirror, just purely because of the bans, right? There was nothing really that was banning anything that would help or that would hinder the Mauga mirror. But then, yeah, Cafe Game comes out with this hazard composition, with this Pharah, so much poke damage. And you mentioned it before we went into Esperanza, but I feel like that map, really great place for the DPS players to shine. We saw so much value from Didn't You See Me on the Pharah, and then Shoreline Pie getting a lot of value on that Sojourn as well. Just finding pick after pick after pick, and unfortunately Paradise Lost just weren't able to find their way back into the fights.
Yeah, every time they won a fight, and it was very narrow every time they did, it was just a full regroup with the forward spawns from Cafe Game. The fate was sealed once they had gotten those original forward spawns on that first point. As soon as you push it past there, it's just these regroups, get up onto the high ground, make use of the sight lines that your Sojourn and your Pharah can utilize. Your Honor Brig are very, very safe. The Hazard has to endure a lot of poke to get onto that backline. And so Paradise Lost were just in this catch-22 situation. Do you dive the backline, or do you try and force points and endure all this poke?
Yeah, and yeah, the poke was just tearing them apart. I liked Paradise Lost at the very end there, although it might have been just for like a touch. They swapped over onto the Sombra. I think that could have worked really well for them. You're not maybe going to be able to do as much against the DPS of Cafe Game, but at least you could shut down King on that Hazard a little bit, right? Hazard is so mobility and cooldown dependent that if you can get a hack onto them and then just burn them down, that is how you can win a fight. And once the tank is out of the fight, no matter how much work the DPS do, it's really, really hard to win a fight after that.
It absolutely is. The importance of a tank in this meta is so crucial. Even if tank itself isn't a naturally impactful role, as much as maybe support or DPS can be, it's the stabilizing factor there. If your tank goes down, you'll lose the fight pretty much. As we go to Circuit Royale, and I think that kind of concept is very, very important on this map especially. You're going to be playing these long sightlines, probably playing a Sigma comp with that poke, and as soon as your Sigma goes down, there's no shield, your team can't really poke. So that kind of concept of the tank being very, very integral to a composition, it's going to matter here so much. I wonder what these bans are going to be.
Yeah, interesting. So Paradise Lost, of course, got to pick the map. So they opted to take us to Circuit, and then they got to pick if they wanted to ban first or if they wanted to ban second. And they actually opted to ban first, and right out the gate, they're banning Widowmaker on Circuit Royale.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think they probably don't want to play these kind of compositions where DPS are going to be prevalent. However, with Sojourn still in the mix, it's going to be a rough one. I think you know we've seen such incredible play from Shoreline Pie on that Sojourn. As I said at the start of the match, before we even got into these maps, Shoreline Pie is probably one of the best Widowmakers kind of in the advanced division at the moment. And sorry, not Widowmakers, Sojourns. In the advanced division, and I think that could just stay prevalent here. Cafe Game aren't going to ban it, so you've kind of locked yourself in now if you're Paradise Lost.
Yeah, that's true. So with the way that these bans work, since Paradise Lost banned the DPS, it means that Cafe have to ban a support or a tank. They can't ban another DPS player. So it'll be interesting to see what they opt for. I can't help but wonder if Paradise Lost want to force the Mauga composition on Circuit, because it's although it's not ideal, Mauga matchup into Sigma can be okay because you can pretty much just run him down, especially with the charge, especially with the Juno speed ring, and where they have been starting on the Mauga composition pretty much each map. I definitely think that they must be comfortable on it.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see our ban here, it's going to be Ramatra. I think this is more of kind of a tactical throwaway ban. You're not likely to see the Ramatra on Circuit Royale. It's possible, of course, but you're not as likely as you are to see maybe a Sigma, Mauga, Hazard, for example. So it's kind of a throwaway ban to leave their options open, I think.
Yeah, and like you said, I am anticipating the Sigma, especially probably from Cafe Game, who showed us just a little bit more kind of diversity in the compositions that they've been playing. Although Paradise Lost have played different comps, they've always kind of started on the one that they're most comfortable on, and then just opted to kind of swap for the counters. So as long as you're DPS are really feeling it for Cafe Game, you can still get so much value on Circuit Royale, even if you somehow end up into the Mauga composition.
Look, we know that Paradise Lost can win out in a kind of rushy kind of mirror, right? We've seen them win on that Zarya against the Mauga. The Mauga is now very, very playable on Circuit Royale, and I think if they wanted to play that, they very well could. It would result in them having a better chance. I think the Hazard they struggled on because they were just outmatched in that DPS presence. And of course, the couple of team fights where you push to the end on push, it's basically over at that point. So a bit more of an even map type now, where Escort it's very rough in terms of getting to the end and full capping. So you're not going to have this constant going to extra innings and constant re-engages.
Yep. So we will have Cafe Game starting on the defense first. And interesting. So they're on the Hazard composition, and Moon Bunny's actually on the Mercy as well. It's been very surprising to me, but I have been seeing a little bit more Mercy. Still very niche pick, of course, but especially like on circuit where this is so DPS focused, if you can get a DPS that is like putting in the work and then you add the blue beam onto it, yeah, that could be super destructive. We'll see. Didn't you see me on this Pharah, on the defense too, which we don't always see. Usually if you get the Pharah here, it's on the attack. So it'll be interesting to see what they can get done with this Pharmacy comp. Paradise Lost not playing that Monger composition. They're gonna run that Sigma, and then you have Hawk on the Hanzo, and then the Ashe instead of the usually the Widowmaker.
King, wow, okay. So King was playing in the side room, got scouted out by Sonar Arrow, bursted down to almost no HP, tried to rotate back to the team. You can't rotate back at that point, it's over. Whispers is going to get staggered out here as well as King swaps to the Sigma. Paradise Lost off to a very good start here with the DPS presence.
Yeah, it's nice, and that's what you like to see from having the Zenyatta as well, right? It's all about just making the other tank have just a terrible time. So seeing King fall first there makes a lot of sense. Cafe Game will be able to get another contest before the point is capped by Paradise Lost. Ooh, gonna find a pick onto DQ Red though, so that's gonna mean Paradise Lost probably gonna have to back up.
Yeah, Paradise, I mean, they're going to struggle against this Pharah purely because there's a Mercy pocketing it. I think if the Pharah was alone, it'd be okay. You know, you can get a double dink with the Ashe, but the Mercy makes it so difficult.
Yeah, I wonder too if Paradise Lost, you need a little bit extra to take down this Pharah. Maybe Speck of Dirt opts to move that Discord Orb off of the Sigma, which is typically where you'd have it, and try to get it up onto this Pharah, because yeah, like you said, this Mercy pocket is so strong. Moon Bunny already has Valkyrie here, pretty much gonna be able to pop it whenever they want. Cyclemos does have window to answer, but the Valkyrie can be really strong where you can get DPS boost onto everybody on your team.
Yeah, Cloven in a very, very, I guess, tough position to rotate through there. I don't know why you would walk in front of that many DPS and try and get through, but no other choice, I suppose. DQ Red goes low there. Paradise Lost just going to recoup a little bit. Now they have this high ground control. It's going to be tougher for the supports of Cafe Game to stay alive, and King. King almost goes down there with a Discord on them. The Nano Boost won't even save them. The barrage is in here from Didn't You See Me, but still they stay alive. The Immortality Field kept them up, and so Paradise Lost will run this one through to get a full cap.
Yeah, I like the dragon there from Hawk. It goes in towards the backline so that even if Cafe Game wanted to back out, they're backing out into the dragons. It does manage to catch Whispers out on that Ana as well, so that's just a little bonus. And we see Whispers swap over on to the Baptiste now. It maybe felt like they were getting a little bit caught out too much on that Ana. But still, all 5 members of Cafe Game are close here, so they're going to be able to take the fight.
All right, nice Bob and Flux combo. I've never seen that one before, actually. That is very, very creative, but it does the trick there, right? 2 ultimates, you win a team fight. However, look at your economy. Paradise Lost using both of their remaining ults there.
Yeah, you're going to be able to get a little bit of cart progress here. You can see there's 2 people from Paradise Lost on that point, so trying to move it forward as quickly as possible. But Cafe Game, they're coming in. They could do the Flux Bob combo of their own if they so choose. They do have that available. And yeah, nothing on the side of Paradise Lost. You're just going to have to hope that Cyclemos can hit a crazy lamp.
Yeah, we'll see when the lamp comes through. DQ Red doesn't get it, that's for sure there. And neither does Cyclemos. Wow, okay. Doesn't get any value out of that Immortality Field there. This Cafe Game just walk back in and take all the space for themselves.
Yep, nice combo there. We saw the Flux and the Bob committed. Whispers is building up to that window, so that's what Cafe Game's gonna have to work with to try and hold this point. On the high ground here, though, this is gonna be an advantage for them for sure. It's hard for Paradise Lost to push into this. You don't have any speed to cross this point, so you really just have to hope that Cloven shield can do the trick, but you can see that King opting to just go right around it. Finally, though, pushing up onto this high ground. You're going to have the dragons available, so we'll see what Hawk's able to do with that. You'd love to catch the support but no, Whispers is actually going to commit the window already.
Oh, nice Dragon Strike as well, cutting off the exit once again of Cafe Game. Paradise Lost can't follow up on it, though. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get the damage they needed in time, but look at that shot from DQ Red. Nice flick shot to take down Shoreline Pie, and everyone else, because of that, Matrix just goes down in an instant.
Yeah, love that from DQ Red. Set up on a really nice angle, able to follow up on the damage from Cloven, especially hitting like those rocks and getting the stuns, and then having the Ash to just immediately follow up with a headshot, confirming that damage. Cyclone's gonna find King as well, so that's a late kill for Cafe Game. You can see they're backing all the way back up to their spawn. Cloven has that the hover perk. I don't think it's quite gonna be able to get up to that window, but it's nice to have just for those little jumps. Paradise Lost moving this point forward. You've got the Trank. You're gonna have that Flux Bob combo coming online again soon. I think that you could actually get even more value from the Flux Bob on this third point. It's much more hallway than even the second point. Cafe Game though, Moon Bunny on the Zenyatta off of the Mercy, and has been on the Zenyatta long enough to build Transcended. So you have that at least in response for these ultimates coming in from Paradise Lost.
Yep, and there it is. You have the trance. It keeps you alive through a flux. You're not going to use the Bob in combination. Instead, it's going to come through afterward, after that Transcendence was baited out. Very, very nice timing there from DQ Red. Very good fight plan from Paradise Lost, as you still get a kill there. Cloven falls. No mercy to res it up. Probably no touch, if I'm honest, though. Whispers is going to speed the team out of spawn. You could potentially see a touch here as the Shoreline Pie is going to get on the point in the nick of time. Whispers will trade their life for that one. The Flux comes through, but it's countered out by a Transcendence. Doesn't matter. DQ Red has gone down, and Cloven is still returning from spawn. That stabilization was crazy from Cafe Game. They were so disadvantaged, and they still won it out.
Yeah, what an impressive touch from Shoreline Pie. They swapped to Tracer and had to use all their blinks just to get through the dragon that was on that left door from Hawk. Really impressive stuff here from Cafe Game to come back into this. And Paradise Lost, though, they have some time. You still have a minute and a half. You still have the window as well, which can be pretty impactful. We saw a lot of value from that on the first point, so could definitely do that on the third point. Now, I will have to say, didn't you see me swapping over onto this Torbjorn and up on the high ground? It's but no, the Sonic Arrow is gonna take out that Torbjorn. No turret standing either.
Yeah, exactly. No value going to be gained from this Torbjorn in this team fight. Cyclamos trying to get some value out of that window as Paradise Lost just going to back out. I think they had invested that much before Cloven had died. Going to back up now and try and go for a recontest later.
Yeah, we do have Moon Bunny on another hero. So this is the third hero here, showing a lot of flexibility. Over on the Kiriko now has built up to that Kitsune Rush. I feel like every time I look at Moon Bunny, they have a different ultimate online. But all this Rush can be really impactful here. You have King with that Flux as well. No Transcendence perspective dirt short. Oh, Hawk again finding one with this Sonic Arrow.
Yeah, very, very nice Sonic Arrow kill there coming through from Hawk. But Moon Bunny finds DQ Red. Cloven very low HP on this high ground, can't do a single thing about King getting into that backline and ravaging them. As, yeah, you just get staggered out there. And Paradise Lost are in one team fight territory now.
Yeah, they had so much time coming into this third point. They basically had the point capped, and Cafe Game, they locked in, they stabilized, holding this really, really well. You can see they're even pushing up, gonna opt to try and hold this front choke point. You know that they must be feeling very confident here. You're gonna be building up to, oh, the eat on the dragon.
What an eat, and no one's gonna touch here for Paradise Lost. None of them can get there in time. Cloven just gets chunked down on a hazard before they get a chance to. Wow, what an eat on the Dragon Strike there. If they get that through, you force a Sigma out, you probably get a touch, if I'm honest.
Yeah, you can at least get the touch, get another fight for sure. But wow, impressive stuff from Cafe Game. Holding on there, so going to deny the point cap from Circuit, which sets a very clear win condition. We're not going to be going into any overtime rounds for Circuit. It's just going to be as is, which means that Cafe Game, they're now at match point, like actually at match point. All they have to do is push this all the way to that golden box, 92.23 meters.
We'll see what Paradise Lost are able to do, though, because they were looking pretty good on this composition. Hawk, I think, was getting a lot of value, especially on this Hanzo, finding a lot of opening picks with the Sonic Arrow, using the dragons, both in combination with ults, and then also just kind of like a zoning ult. So not doing too bad. We do have them on the same composition. I expect Speck of Dirt probably going to play the Zenyatta. Yeah, we'll have the Zen on the defense. For the attack, I don't expect... Well, I don't know. See, there used to be a time where I never thought we'd see Bastion, but those days seem to have passed.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the perks make it so that Bastion, instead of having that kind of long turret damage, you can use the rockets instead. You get a bit more kind of mobility, but no, it's going to be a Torbjorn. And I don't blame them for playing a Torb here. I think Torbjorn's perks are just as good. Alright, some poking out between the Sigmas here already. King under a bit of flak, no cooldowns to speak of as they're going to rotate up towards this left side, potentially take Paradise off guard as well, right? Cloven, Hawk in very, very bad positions there as Cloven. Oh, didn't you see me attempted to get the hammer kill there? I saw that. But Cloven will take them down before anything can happen. And Cafe Game, what was a potentially good engage where they could kill the Sigma, kind of thrown away by the attempt to hammer kill there.
I respect the attempt, but like, yeah, sometimes you really just gotta keep the gun out as much as it is fun to get those hammer kills. It's gonna send Cafe Game back, get a regroup. Oh, Shoreline Pine falling very low. We'll be able to stay alive. Cloven had quite a nice angle there, and yeah, Paradise Lost are holding pretty strong here. You've got a nice setup with everybody on the bridge. Cloven holding that corner. But Cafe Game really just need to find kind of like one kill, and they're going to be able to get a lot of space. Because we'll probably see Paradise Lost just back all the way out. It's literally just poke damage coming in from both sides, just hoping that they're going to be able to find something. I do think that Paradise Lost might have a little bit of an advantage there, where you have Hawk on the Hanzo, where you can really get the one-shots. But, ooh, yep, they also have the window available.
Yeah, the window just completely bursts down King. Nothing to be done there, especially with Cafe Game playing so split off from King. They were kind of on a solo mission, as everyone else is playing in the small room, and will be staggering themselves out by the looks of things, right? There's no escape from here, unless Paradise Lost have some players that kind of fly a bit too close to the sun, but it should be okay here, should live. If I was Hawk here, I would throw a Dragon Strike in there.
Yeah, right? There's 3 of them in there. There's really nowhere that they can go. You have Cloven that's basically blocking off the exit, but no, actually, Cafe Game gonna be able to walk in. It's the Flux, though. Gonna catch 3, I think.
Nice Dragon Strike into that Flux as they're slammed down, but 3 caught out here. King, the clutch, coming through in the nick of time for Cafe Game to get this payload moving. There will, however, be a recontest.
Yeah, those are recontests. DQ Red's gonna have that Bob online. Speck of Dirt has the Transcendence as well. Didn't use that for the Flux coming in, so we'll have that potentially for the recontest here. But Cafe Game, they were good about their ultimates, right? You have both DPS ultimates online. That Molten Core could pretty much just deny any touch at all, and if there is a touch, they could pretty much just die right away.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Molten Core. It's going to come through first from Didn't You See Me. That'll deny anyone from touching, but it's just the Bob that goes down. Shoreline Pie following up now onto DQ Red, and everyone else going so low for Paradise Lost. That's the cap. Cafe Game do get it through with a minute remaining, so they boosted up by 2 minutes 30, and they'll get a lot of space out of this as well.
Yeah, you can see Paradise Lost just backing all the way out as Cafe Game walks way up. It's gonna take this first choke point, trying to just get as much space as they can so that the payload can just keep pushing forward. They have the one person on it. No ultimates for the side of Cafe Game. Cyclamos is gonna have that window. As soon as it's online, it's the window out from Cyclamos.
Yeah, Cyclamos rounding the corner with that one. Does force Cafe Game to play a little bit safer, but to be honest, you don't really get much out of that. The cart was still moving up towards this corner at that point. And now it's going to be the retaliation. King assisted by a rail to find DQ Red there. And Cloven a little bit too far forward now. The Immortality Field will keep him alive just temporarily. As Cafe Game, the DPS go a little bit too far up there. The Zen and the Hanzo getting the kills respectively. Speck of Dirt losing a duel against a turret. What are you doing, man? You can't be doing that there, as Cyclamos will go down as well. No supports here for Paradise Lost. They have to win this here and now, and they do it. They managed to clean up the 2 remaining supports there for Cafe Game. Somehow they stabilize there.
Yeah, it feels like the win condition for Paradise Lost is for Cloven to hit an accretion, because every time he hits one of those accretion, Hawk is there to follow up on it, and that's what opened up that fight for them to be able to stabilize here, and that's really great because you don't have to use an ultimate, you just have to hit your cooldowns at the right time. So Hawk has that Dragon Strike, and then you have the Flux available from Cloven as well. We saw that combo come out before, let's see if we're gonna get it again.
Yeah, Flux comes through here. Cloven misses the accretion. Doesn't matter. Moon Bunny will still go down, and you get that escape cooldown from that Immortality Field. Still, Cloven under so much pressure there. The trance popped a little bit too late from Speck of Dirt. A little bit too hesitant on it there. But the Dragon Strike could be huge here. Hawk finds Whispers. Everyone else is low, and they're going to get followed up on here. As Didn't You See Me falls as well. They are shaving a lot of time off the clock here.
Yeah, 1 minute and 20 seconds. We're still counting down, and despite losing Cloven first in that fight, Paradise Lost did a great job of stabilizing, keeping each other alive, using the ultimates. It's the slide in from Shoreline Pie to take out Speck of Dirt, though.
Oh, window instantly used here by Cyclamos. They think this one's winnable as a huge rail comes through. It shuts down the overclock there from Shoreline Pie as the Molten Core is now invested by Didn't You See Me. But with King down and out of the fight, it's potentially winnable. But you've got 2 squishies here in the face of a Molten Core, and you can't win that out if you're Paradise Lost. Very, very unlucky. Almost clutching that out.
Yeah, he was so close, but the Molten Core, it just does so much damage, and when you have no choice but to contest and you have to stand in the lava, it's just not good. Looks like we do have a request for pause coming out from the side of Cafe Game, so we'll just have to wait and see what that's about. Doesn't look like it's a DC, so it might just be a technical issue on some other end.
Yeah, it looks like Shoreline Pie was a player lagging there, by the looks of things, so you don't really want your Sojin missing all those rails in the middle of a team fight. Justifiable, I think. And to be fair, Shoreline Pie been doing a very, very good job on Sojin as well, ignoring that last team fight where they get dinked up by a rail while using Overclock. Other than that, we've seen a very, very good showing from this Sojin player. Probably MVP quality for this match, if I had to say so myself. But let's not call anything just yet. Paradise Lost have potentially 3 team fights to hold and win this map and make it a map 5. It's doable.
It is doable, right?
They know exactly where they need to hold. I think that they've been doing a much better job of kind of stabilizing in these fights. Before, it really just felt like once Cafe Game was winning one fight, they were winning the next one, they were winning the next one. But here on Circuit, we're seeing that Paradise Lost is able to shut some of this down. A lot of this does come down to like hitting the cooldowns and comboing their cooldowns together. Like I said earlier, like the stun on the rock, it's so important that you have somebody to follow up on that. With Hawk on the Hanzo, it's so much easier to do that compared to on Cafe Game, where you do have the Sojourn. So if you have the charge railgun, like you could potentially get the final blow onto it. But your other DPS is the Torbjorn, that although he puts out a lot of damage, it's more damage over time rather than burst.
Yeah, exactly. The Torb is there to kind of have that turret put in a bit of off-angle pressure. You get that the pressure from the Doritos in the front line, you know. It's overtime damage, but the Hanzo there is there to one-shot. The Hanzo is there to follow up on accretions, like you say, or if potentially you chunk someone down with Discord Orb, that Hanzo will finish them off. And I like that stylistic difference. I'm liking what we're seeing here from Paradise Lost in terms of playing around that Hanzo's one-shot potential. All they need to do now is kind of make that more consistent. It feels like it's very hit and miss on whether they're actually getting value out of that Hanzo.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The fights that they're winning, they are winning quite decisive. They're finding the first picks.
and they're following up on it really well. But yeah, if the fights like go on for a long time and there's a lot of back and forth, it does feel like it's favoring Cafe Game, and a lot of that does have to do with, I said it, the Torbjorn. It really does. Like, if you aren't able to kill the Torbjorn and the Torb turret, the longer these fights go on, the more damage comes out from Torb and that turret. And we see the Molten Core coming online so frequently, and it's been really impactful on capping both first and second point for Cafe Game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Cafe Gamer here, they've got it within their reach. They've got the series win here potentially, as this pause gets resolved. Shoreline Pie doesn't really matter that they DC'd in terms of that ultimate charge because they used it anyway. So here, what you need to see from them is good combinations of these ults. They got a minute 53. They wouldn't have too many ult rotations left.
Yeah, that's right. We do see the Flux online for King. Whispers has the window. We have, actually Paradise Lost set up quite comfortably on the high ground here. We'll have Hawk just peeking in this window speck of dirt. Where?
Oh, why are you there? What are you doing? I don't know. Either way, didn't you see me? Gets the kill, wins that duel, and Cloven also under a lot of pressure in this small room. You see this overclock come through from DQ Red. They need to hit some shots with this, but they're being segmented off by this Sigma. Shoreline Pie will go down though, and that's a very, very crucial player removed. Cafe Game are losing a bit of this momentum. They might want to disengage here.
Yeah, you have the time, about a minute on the clock. You don't have your Flux anymore. Oh, okay, now we know. You cannot get up there with the perk from Sigma. I wasn't sure. The Whispers will be able to keep King alive through that little experimental jump, but still quite split off here.
Yeah, King unfortunately going to get staggered out there. I think it was very hard to disengage if you are King in that situation. Cafe Game, one team fight to go with a few ultimates building up.
Yeah, you have got both support ultimates. Gonna have that Molten Core from Didn't You See Me as well. So we'll see what they're able to get done with that. But Paradise Lost, they've got ultimates of their own. You got the Flux and the Dragon. It's gonna be the Flux coming out first from Cloven here.
The accretion stuns it out as Cloven gets it cancelled. Still, the Disruptor shot hits Whispers there as a Dragon Strike will cut off this team. The Transcendence has been utilized though by Paradise Lost, and they would much have won it. They would very much have wanted that against this Molten Core, against this Gravitic Flux. It's gonna all come down to whether they can build it in time. King trying to get the damage through. They will have the Flux. Shoreline Pie hits a sick rail onto DQ Red. The Amplification Matrix comes through, but it's denied by the Flux here. It's gonna hit Cyclamos. Shoreline Pie finding another kill onto a Hawk here as the rest of the squad follows up. It's gonna be down to a stall here from Paradise Lost.
Overtime is on. There's 4 members of Cafe Game alive here, so it's gonna be really hard. Paradise, of course, they're getting those overtime spawns now. The turret finds DQ Red, and that is going to be it. No touch from Paradise Lost. It's gonna be Cafe Game taking Circuit and taking the match.
Yeah, that is a dream gone to a nightmare there for Paradise Lost. They had it within their clutches, but a misused Transcendence, some mispositioning from the Baptiste. I mean, it's just unlucky mistakes towards the end there, but you can't pin that on any individual players at all. Cafe Game played a better game in their gaming cafe, clearly, as they take the series 3-1. Can't complain about that. They'll keep their streak going.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, gonna keep the win streak going again. And yeah, this team showing us exactly how much synergy they have. We saw it at the beginning, even though they actually had a tank ringer at the beginning of the match, able to get their regular tank King back into it, and showing really impressive gameplay from everybody on the team. But I think that you and I, Toasty, we gotta pick an MVP, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's gonna be none other here than our DPS prodigy on the side of Cafe Game. We don't have the graphic made up just yet, so give that a second, but it's going to be Shoreline Pie. And here we go, here's the graphic. Shoreline Pie, our Sojin MVP. I was hyping them up before the game, I was hyping them up during the game, and we're hyping them up after the game. Incredible Sojin play throughout that entire match. And you know what? Widowmaker was banned? Who cares? On Circuit Royale, you can still do crazy things on the Sojin. Shoreline Pie showed us that.
Yeah, showed us it on Circuit. They showed it to us on
the Flashpoint maps as well. And on Esperanza, I think they also played the Sojourn. So really impressive stuff. I think that they were not only getting a lot of value just like in the mid fight, charging up the rail, finding the squishies, but doing a really great job with those overclocks as well. Sometimes it's hard to confirm the kills because of course it's all about sustain now, but doing a good job of finding the elims, finding the squishies on the side of Paradise Lost, and giving their team an advantage time and time again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you're not getting inherent value in the kill feed out of those overclocks, you're dealing the damage, you're forcing cooldowns. It's very, very powerful as an ultimate, and Shoreline Pie showed us that you can also be flashy with them. And there were some very, very good plays throughout that match, I think. And to be honest, the support from the team was great there as well. Shoreline Pie definitely bailed out in a few situations where they were going a bit aggressive, but that's Shoreline Pie for you, always looking to play make.
Yeah, really well played from Cafe Games. So we'll take a quick look at the Advanced Division standings right now. Of course, some of these matches may not quite be completed yet. I know that some of them did get rescheduled to Saturday. I'm not totally sure which one that is, but I know one of them did. But these are the current standings. So Overcharge, which we mentioned kind of at the beginning, this is the loss that the Cafe game had, and Overcharge sitting at that top seed.
Yeah, you're looking at a Swiss format where you're going to be going against kind of top teams against top teams, bottom teams against bottom teams, and you kind of meet in the middle. And Overcharged are just showing that they are a top team at the moment. Cafe Game taking a map off them, but not quite the series. It shows that Overcharged are going to be the team to beat, I think, going into the playoffs, right? You come out on top on the Swiss, whether it's through strength of schedule, whether it's through just being incredible at the game. We've seen Overcharged play, we've seen how good they are. We've also seen today that Cafe Game are a formidable team.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be it from us tonight, though. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in. This is the last match of the week, but we will be back next week with the week 5 of the Swiss series, which is going to be the last week in Swiss stage. So very exciting to see the team matchups, which I'm sure will be out soon if they're not out already. But yeah, that's it from us.